Good morning, good evening, and good day. Thank you so much for watching Attack Power Gaming. Today, we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna sit down and talk, and I want to talk about why you aren't winning when you play Steel Division 2. We need to have a real heart-to-heart here. Don't take it personally, but I really want to get everyone on the right track and to get better at this game as fast as possible. So we're gonna go over the 7 reasons why you aren't winning at Steel Division 2. So, if you enjoy this content, please hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. It's free to you, and it really helps the channel out a lot. Let's dive right in. Alrighty, so reason number 1 that you aren't winning at Steel Division 2 is because you haven't hit that subscribe button yet and subscribed to Attack Power Gaming. I'm totally kidding. We're going to count that as 1, though. So, let's go to our real number 1. So the first reason that you are not winning at Steel Division 2 happens before the game even starts, and that's because you have misbuilt your deck in some way. You're either not using the right division for the map, if you know which map you're using, or the division you're using is just simply misbuilt, and you're not taking advantage of the strengths of the division, or you're not properly building it so that you have troops available at all points in the game. For example, you may not have enough A phase infantry. You might not have enough C phase infantry if you're planning on playing balanced. You may not be using the best troops that the unit has available. You might be using weird troops that aren't that helpful, or using planes that aren't that good, or artillery that's not that effective. These sort of mistakes can, right off the bat, set you on the back foot and set you up to fail when you go to play your games. So it's very important that you're checking your decks, making sure they are up to date when things get updated, because things change. When updates happen, troops get bumped out, and you can actually be like missing troops. And even more so than that, you need to know what the strongest troops going on are in the game, and you need to make sure that you're using them and using them effectively. So that's the first reason why you're not winning in your games. The second reason that you're not winning in Steel Division 2 is because you don't know the divisions. Okay, and that I'm not implying here that you need to go and study every single division the game has to offer. There are very many divisions in the game. I'm saying that you need to at least have an idea of what the main threats, strengths, and weaknesses are of the majority of at least the more commonly battled divisions. Okay, I understand you may never run into the 50-second sick rooms, so you may not know exactly what's in that deck, or you may not run into Cork, or you may not run into Task Force Butler, so you may not know every single troop in these divisions, but you need to have a good idea of at least the top tier divisions, what they are packing, and how you need to deal with that. If you don't, you're going to be fighting blind most of the time. I know when I first started playing this game, and this might have been a little overboard, but I got tired of losing. I actually had a notebook, and in that notebook I just kind of like wrote down each division and kind of did like a shorthand scribble of what those divisions had. I'd just be like standard German infantry or standard Soviet infantry. If they had special ones like Strafniki or MP44s or whatever it happened to be, I'd write that down. I wrote down what kind of tanks they had. I wrote down what kind of artillery, whatever. I said good bombers, bad fighters, whatever. And that gave me a good idea. Whenever I hopped into a game, I'd quick check my notebook and I'd say, oh, okay, cool. This division is strong in this or weak in this, and I would know where to go. That's a huge deal, and it really helps determine the way you play. That's why pro players know how to counter your division all the time. They know all the divisions back and forth, and they know exactly where their weaknesses are. They know exactly what their strengths are. They know what the opponent can bring to the table and what they need to use to counter that. If you have absolutely no idea what you're playing against, or if you don't have a good idea what you're using, you are right away shooting yourself in the foot. You're going to call in poor troops. You're going to call in super heavy AT when the opponent has no tanks really, or you're going to call in no AT when the opponent is mostly a tank deck, or you're going to call in no AA and it's a really strong airborne deck. These are the kind of things you need to know, so when you go into game, you have an idea of what you need to be calling in and how to have the best chance to win right off the bat. The third reason that you are not winning in Steel Division 2 is most likely because you're not deploying aggressively enough. You are deploying too conservatively. You're not actually setting yourself up to win. So let's look at a deployment here for an example. So we can see that the flags for me to capture are quite far from the front lines, and that may kind of encouraged me to just sit back. I could just throw some troops in these trees, a couple troops back here. I could, throw up some defenses over here. I could throw some guys just right here to cover all this stuff off, throw these guys just here and play a nice defensive setup at the beginning of the game and be sure that they're not going to be able to kill any of my troops at the beginning. While it's nice not to lose any troops at the beginning, that also means you're not going to win. You have to actually make a deployment that's going to gain you some ground at the beginning of the game. So you can see here, I have guys coming here, I have troops pushing here, I have troops pushing here. Or you can be more concentrated. You could pour them all into one area and really try to push. That's more about your choice and the strategy you want to take. But you need to be deploying more aggressively so you actually have a chance of winning. If you deploy all your troops in a super defensive posturing, how are you ever going to win? You're not going to actually capture any flags in the whole game. You're just going to be reacting to your opponent attacking you. So at the beginning of the game, it's really important, especially if you're playing something like Maverick. It's extremely important then that you deploy somewhat aggressively and actually try to get territory at the beginning of the game. I'm not implying that you would deploy like back here in their back lines. That's ridiculous. All your guys will just die. But on the flip side, you got to actually try to go capture some territory. If you don't, you're not going to win. So you need to make sure that you're actually doing something at the beginning of the game to get you off on the right foot so you're not immediately on a point bleed. The next reason why you are not winning at Steel Division 2 is a little bit more, it's going to take a little bit more time to fix, but your micro sucks. So a very simple and straightforward reason why you may not be winning is because your micromanagement, your micro skills, in other words, moving individual troops and unloading and doing things with individual troops, is lacking. And that lack of skill in that department can be really hurting you and your chances of winning the game. I know a lot of new players just blame micro for all their problems, and yeah, that is a big reason that you don't win a lot of games, is because your micro sucks. You're not keeping your troops alive, you're not deploying, you're not making those small little moves that the good players make that give you the advantages and help you win all those little combats that happen throughout the game. You don't retreat, you don't push, you don't do all those little things, and having poor micro is obviously going to severely affect your ability to win your games. It is not like the single determining factor, but it is a big deal. You gotta work to get your micro down. The first steps are making sure you know all of your hotkeys. You don't have time to look at your keyboard and try to see which button was that fast move button, or which button was that attack, or whatever, or fall back, or whatever it happens to be. You don't have time for that. Every second in this game matters, especially when we're talking about microplay. So you have to make sure you know your hotkeys really well, you're clicking fast, and you're actually like scanning the map all the time, giving orders quickly and moving guys around in order to react to the constantly developing battlefield situation. Our next reason is a little tougher to understand, but we talked about in our strategy video. You aren't playing to win. I know that sounds ridiculous. Of course, every game you're playing, you're trying to win. But the truth is, your actual gameplay isn't allowing you to win. You're not actually attacking. You're playing super defensively. You're not trying to exploit big wins, where you kind of break through the opponent's troops and you have a chance to really like get forward and like secure territory and things. You're not taking advantage of that. You're just sitting back and trying to let the opponent like come into your defenses so you can chew up their troops. I mean, it's a great idea and concept, and sometimes it really works, but a lot of times it really doesn't. You have to actually play to win. You have to actually try to go get territory. You have to actually pressure your opponent, and you have to be smart about it. You can't just, again, randomly throw troops at like unnecessary aggression at absolutely everything. You have to, though, have some way you're actually going to win. I'm going to push on this flank and capture these flags. I'm going to destroy this troop here to make a breakout here. You have to actually be actively planning and making steps to win the game, not just not lose the game. It's a very common problem for people, not just in this game, but in every game, any multiplayer games. They're not playing to win, they're just trying not to lose. It's not the same thing, and it does not yield the same results at the end of the day. Our final reason why you're not winning at Steel Division 2 is you simply don't have enough experience yet. And I hate to say that, but the truth is sometimes you just need to grind, and you just need to put those hours in to understand the game at a more intimate level. Okay? And there's no getting around the fact that you just have to put some hours into this game to actually get good at it. And when I say some hours, I mean 100+ hours at least to really start to not completely blow at this game. There's really no getting around that. You can see any of the pro players, or even any of the average good players, myself, a averagely good player, I have 600+ hours in this game, which in retrospect, compared to the other people who are really good, is not that many hours at the end of the day. So the fact is, if you ever really want to get good at this game, you're going to have to put the time in and grind those hours out and learn the game in and out to really get good at it. And I gotta tell you, it's worth it. This is one of the few video games I've really ever felt was worth the time into it. Like, yeah, I could have been spending 600 hours doing some probably more productive things like saving the world or something, but since I didn't, I'm not upset that I spent it playing this game, because I find this game really challenging, really exciting, and really fun, and the community is awesome. I've met a lot of people playing this game. So I would encourage you, if you want to get good at this game, to try to put that time into it. You know, grind that game a night. It's not, you know, one game a night doesn't end up taking up that much time. It's probably an hour at the end of the day. And if you do that, you're going to find, as time goes on, you are going to get better at it, and you're going to find that the wins start to stack up a little bit. Your micro is going to get better, your planning and strategy is going to get better, and you're going to start winning. So that's one that you really can't overlook, guys. You just got to get good, bruh. You know, there's really no getting around it. Those are 7 reasons why you aren't winning at Steel Division 2 yet. But the nice thing is, all of those things are very solvable. Make sure you go watch some tutorials. I got a lot on here that can tell you all kinds of different things, and I continue to add all the time. So go check those out, watch those videos, take in that information, and try it in your own games. It's going to really help. Then go watch some pro play. You know, I got some casts on here, but there's other YouTubers on YouTube that do some great casts that you can see pros play, and you can learn from their play. It's really, really helpful. You should. And then, most importantly, go play. You know, go have fun, hop into a team game, try some quick play. I wouldn't hop into rank just yet. You know, take your time, learn the game a bit, but go lose. You're going to. It's frustrating, I get it. But, you know, tell your opponent, hey, I'm newer. If you got any advice, there's a lot of great players out there who really want to help new players out. I wouldn't do it in a 10v10. 10v10 people get a little bit irky when they realize they have a noob on their team. Keep it quiet and just do your best. But when you're playing 1v1, usually your opponent's not that upset that you're a noob. They want to either help you or they're a noob too, and then you'll have a nice fun game. I hope you enjoyed this content. Please hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more Steel Division 2 content. Have a fantastic day.